thought leaders, right? At first, they said American exceptionalism doesn't even exist. That was a 2011 article written by a columnist at Foreign Policy, a couple of Harvard professors. And then they admitted, well, there is such a thing as American exceptionalism, but it died. And of course, those sort of articles and papers began popping up last year. But of course, we know it does exist, and it will as long as Americans don't take it for granted and never stop believing. By the way, if you're not sure you need a little bit of a nudge every now and then, you got one today. NASA science astronauts Sonny Williams, Butch Wilmore, both now on their way back to Earth in a SpaceX Crew Dragon capsule. This after they had problems with the Boeing vehicle, right? We're talking 9 months in space, stranded in the International Space Station. Now they're on their way home.
Thank you to all of our friends and families, and thank you to all of the instructors and all of the ground teams who got us here. Can't wait to get started.
It was a wonderful day. Great to see our friends arrive. So thank you so much.
All right, let's bring in a panel, folks. Federalist Elections correspondent Brianna Lyman, along with Endeavor PAC founder Tiffany Smiley. Tiffany, I want to start with you on this because first, let's talk before we even get to the rescue. American exceptionalism. It's just amazing to me how many forces out there in America are so eager to dismiss the notion that we're exceptional.
Yeah, well, maybe that's the Beltway, but the rest of America is pretty awesome. And I think, Trump has coined it perfectly. We're heading into the golden age for America. The American dream is built on hard work and American exceptionalism. And if we don't have that, we don't have our country anymore. And so the American dream is for everyone in this country if you're willing to work for it. And if you want to follow the rules.
So that second article I featured was last year, and they're saying young Americans don't believe that their country is exceptional. Are you finding that with your friends?
Oh, absolutely. And it's a large part because of the universities that we go to. I took so many classes in college that basically said America is racist, America is sexist, America is an oppressive country. And there's this dichotomy that young people are learning that you're either the oppressor or the oppressed. And they always see America as the oppressor. So until we change the fabric of society in college, you're going to have a generation growing up to hate America.
That's just, as many times as we've come to the rescue of the rest of the world, at our precious treasures. Tiffany, I just want a little bit of a sidebar because these astronauts are stranded, but they had a voice. You sort of burst on the scene, so to speak, after your husband was blinded by a suicide bomber in Mosul. You became an advocate for those who say in the military who didn't have a voice.
Yeah.
What was that all about?
Well, I think, back to our country and how great we are, that in what other country can you, like these astronauts, speak out? Can you speak out against the DOD or the VA and advocate to your government for change and have it happen? There's no other country that you can do that in. And not only that, but to make it better for others behind you. Right. And I mean, there's no other place in this world.
So now we're having a battle with around the world, and in April we have these reciprocal tariffs that come on, and apparently there was an article a couple days ago that was titled "Give Us Back the Statue of Liberty." France wants the sculpture back, says the U.S. no longer shares its values. Brianna.
Charles, look, there are about 130,000 Americans who will lay for eternity in a country that has become largely unrecognizable precisely because France doesn't understand what liberty means. They have allowed people from countries who do not believe in liberty to overtake their own country. And America is not going to fall on that path, nor will we give them back a statue that represents actual liberty that is practiced here in America.
Yeah, I think they need a history lesson, and I love what the White House said so perfectly. France should thank the United States because if it wasn't for us, they would be speaking German.
A lot of problems that we do, though, have in this country really have been since COVID. And it's ironic because it wasn't the disease, it was the actions around the disease. And I want to ask you about one of them that continues to bother people because you're trained as a nurse and you know the medical profession. The excess death of the age group 0 to 24. Have we been able, can we say what it might be? Can people say it might be the vaccine? What can we say about something that came out of left field and it's become a crisis?
You mean as far as our youth are concerned?
And all of a sudden, I mean, they're sick, they've got cancer, they've got all this stuff that it just all of a sudden.
Well, it's at a crisis level, and we know that at an alarming rate, young adolescent kids have at least one chronic illness. I mean, that's unacceptable in our country. That's why I'm excited about the team that President Trump has put together with RFK Jr. leading the charge and getting to the bottom of this, surrounding himself with experts and leaders, medical doctors who can study this and understand, is it our food supply? Is it vaccines? What is it that is making our children sicker and sicker and less healthy in our country?
So, talking about the trade war, Brianna, Canada says, okay, they've got the nuclear weapon to neutralize us. They're going to ban Pornhub in the U.S. I didn't realize I had to Google it, but Pornhub is based out of Canada. But it dovetails with a lot of research, including I read something in the Atlantic about what happens when men prefer porn.
Yes.
We've got a serious situation in our country, right, with fertility rates, young men particularly, we're just talking about that. Where does that come with respect to staying exceptional if we stop having families and we stop having children?
Yeah, I mean, look, that's actually the one thing I wish Canada would do is ban Pornhub, because it really it pollutes the mind, particularly of our younger people, and it does drive down their ability or their wants to have sexual relations with others, which leads to lower birth rates. And the United States has a serious problem with declining birth rates that will lead us to become a country that's unrecognizable in 50 years if we're not producing.
I think part of it is the economic malaise in our country as well, and it's, you know, people don't want to have kids if they don't believe that their children's future will be better than what theirs is.
So I got less than a minute to go on this topic. Then I read two articles back to back. One that said Gen Z could be a group of rejects. But the other one says that Gen Z is buying 40% of the new Ferraris. Which one is it, Brianna?
I got to meet some of these Gen Z who are buying Ferraris, because I don't know anyone doing that.
Maybe they're all in Vegas. I don't know.
Got to move there.
Ferrari's an awesome company. I mean, their business model is really well done.
Really
I've ridden in a Ferrari, and it's really nice.
But do we put too much? Do we put down this generation, particularly young Gen Z? Or, I mean, where are we with that?
Well, I think, again, goes back to how you started, how we opened with American exceptionalism. Let's show